Welcome back to Today we're going to be building a brand new university. Along with that, we're also going to be doing a brand new sports complex for our college sports. And this will have all the sports in it because we just happen to have never put in any of these sports buildings. So, figured we might as well put in all of them. But this is the last campus of the three that we haven't done, and that is liberal arts. Decided to put one in right now because we need higher educated workers for over here in this general area of the bay. And also now we're actually starting to get into building cities, or more of a city area. So I figured might as well get started by building up the area with a university, which I was going to put over here anyways. Maybe didn't intend on how big this ended up being, but I like how it turned out in the end. But I first start off by putting in the main building. That big plot there, that'll be all parking. I put in the parking lots a little bit later in the episode, and I just kind of worked on putting in all the buildings. I did end up getting all the buildings except for one that's the outdoor study, but it's huge, and between the hillside and everything, it just would look really ugly. So I decided not to put that in. And then I just did a ton of winding different paths all around here. And I eventually got with more so, it's kind of a grid, kind of not a grid. Excuse me. With how all these buildings are made, you were kind of forced into doing grids around here. Or at least in the universities, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And it definitely turned out really nice though. I'm not saying anything about that. And I did sprinkle in some dorms throughout here. And then just this way people didn't trespass onto the campus from the train station or vice versa, I did just decide to put this fence all along the rail line, just so this way people didn't go wandering onto the rail line from the campus, especially since they would be right nearby there. And then I also put on the policies for that. And now these two, not these two yet, I added in their train station too, all along the line. But this train station here now is getting tons of people coming in, as much as it will be once we actually get a city in here, because there's only like 500 or 600 people going to this, even though it's very big. That's just because there ain't many people around here right now. But once tons of people come in here, we'll get tons and tons of people coming into this university. But like I said, there isn't many people coming in on the train line as of now, but soon that will change over time. And then this is pretty much where it all ended in terms of where the campus. Add in the last couple things, and I squeezed the fence all around here. And it's the little details that really bring this stuff together. The fence definitely brought the train line here together, I would say. And then I brought water pipes. I put in that parking lot that I was talking about earlier. And then I got to work on some of our sports facilities, after I added the last couple of buildings to our campus. Like I said, after I got those final touches and I started working on our sports facilities, over here, because track and field, I liked how it was going to sit there, but it was just way too big, so I just decided to get rid of it. But the aquatics, or not aquatics, but the swimming building in there, and then I also put in some last touches into our campus area, but I did end up doing all the sports like I said earlier. They just kind of now sprawl all along this general area going along the main road. And they draw in tons of people too, so I didn't want to stagger them, because otherwise then there's just tons of traffic in here that just straight up can't handle. So I've staggered all of them to where they're all at different times, because before they were all basically, there was pretty much just 2 sets of games, and there was like 3 of them at the same time. So that was way too much traffic coming in here between people on trains and just cars in general, especially with how busy that one grade crossing is. Which, I would make it a non-grade crossing, which I just is pretty much just that it's on level of the road, but it's just too little space to put a bridge on either the road or the train line, and so we're kind of stuck with that. And then I put in the basketball arena in here, along with the baseball one across the street. I also added in more parking here. All this parking here would be mostly for people that are students on the campus, but it would also be shared for the sports games that are right in front of it. And then I did want to add that, but that's a metro station, so I couldn't exactly build it in here. But then I just decided to do this dual platform station, which I've actually never used in the city, which is quite surprising because it is a very nice station. Excuse me. But all of our stations inside the city were all elevated, so that's probably why I never got to using this. And then also we just haven't had many stations out here in the suburbs. But then I brought our stops down, or I attempted to. I did move the stops off camera, but this train station is definitely getting a lot more use. But that's probably mostly because most of these arenas are around here. Then I put our track and field facility. This is a much better place for it with the terrain stuff, just because it wouldn't be basically right on the water, and also it wouldn't need to be as steep. And I also put in parking lots. This would be more of probably a park and ride station right there. And also just to bring people from the main city into here to watch sports games and all that fun stuff. So there'd be tons of people just taking trains non-stop. I have considered honestly putting in a train line that is just non-stop, but I mean there is a ferry that you could take. I know it's very slow. Otherwise, then you can take the express line too, because there already is that express line like we have put in here. But it is a non-stop. It does stop a bunch, but it doesn't have a lot of stops. So that will just leave as is with the train lines and how we've been doing it. And then I came over here and put in dorms. And then I also... So this whole entire area is pretty much all dorms, except for one of the special buildings that actually gives bonuses in the city. I forgot to put those in, so I put those in after everything. I shoved one of them over here. I put another one inside more of the central area of the campus that kind of was just missing something. And then I put one right next to the aquatic center, and then I'll talk more about that one in a bit. Now with the location along the hill here and the waterfront, it is a bit annoying with all the hills and stuff that we've needed to change up with the terrain to where they aren't nice hills. But for the most part, most of them have been able to be smoothed out. I also worked around and put a bunch of different low maintenance buildings all around this whole entire general area for the campus. Help add to the campus and also just obviously maintenance stuff. And I tried shoving the buildings over here, then I just decided to put in the one bit bigger building over here. It fit in pretty nicely here. I did need to redo the road a bit just to change the terrain around. But it turned out really nice, honestly, for this area. And I definitely love how it turned out. And also the road, it turned out pretty nice too. And I just made sure this all had a bunch of connections through a path. And then this last building, this is the one I was talking about where I would be talking a bit more about it in a bit. And, well, after I reconnected our ferry line, which I will probably move that ferry stop over a bit more. And I was just be kind of sliding it over, but it is kind of in a pretty bad spot now. And so here I did do core walls here. These are the Bridges and Piers one. They're really nice. I cut out that part because it took me like 5 minutes to actually do that. And I don't think y'all want to see a bunch of water just flowing down. But first I did put in our football stadium. Nothing much to say about this one. It was a pretty massive thing, but I just put an entire thing around it, and I put a parking decks in for all these fans. And I had our train line then go along behind these parking decks, and that will continue into the final station of the line. That'll be where everything will terminate, and that's where our City trains for this area will go in. And then this is when I started doing the quarter wall. You can kind of get the idea. You'll see more of it in the final product when I actually finished it. Did that part off camera, and then I added final touches with trees. And like I said, that is it for me. Here is the final product. Do hope you've enjoyed. If you haven't, make sure to subscribe. Do this next one. Bye!